Hey guys, it's Saria. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is another tutorial, episode 2 we can call it, of using stuff from my craft box that needs to go. So basically, if you guys didn't see it, I made a video where I kind of compiled a bunch of stuff that's been sitting in my craft room for a very long time that just needs to get used. So this video is going to be showing you guys how I made an Encanto inspired wreath. I love this movie. Like, look at my super cute shirt. Lift like Luisa, and she's lifting up Hercules. I have these gorgeous Mirabelle earrings that were made for me by a small shop, one of a kindred. I'll be sure to link her, you guys. These are polymer clay, and she did customize them for me. She can do anyone. Like, she loves doing custom orders. She's so reasonably priced, and they're lightweight. You don't even feel them on. I cannot say enough positive things about this shop, seriously. The ears and the shirt actually were gifted to me by Erica when we did our Encanto swap. So if any of this stuff you're like, I need that, I'll be sure to link stuff below. This video is going to be showing you guys how I made this really cute little, pretty simple wreath for my classroom. Actually is where it's going to end up being hung. So without further ado, let's jump into this tutorial. So in case you guys were wondering, this is a very old video. I filmed it over a year ago and I'm just now getting to editing it, so let's jump in. First, we're going to be making the little yarn butterflies that you kind of see on Mirabelle's outfit. So you're just going to take yarn of your choosing and then wrap it around your 4 fingers about 10 times. Honestly, this is very like, make it look how you want, and then you're going to slide it off of your hand and just tie it in the middle. So again, just take the yarn, loop it around your 4 fingers as many times as you like to make it look like a nice full butterfly. And then I'm just using a piece of jute twine to tie the middle, and then I did leave the strings a little bit long to create like little butterfly antennas. This is so simple and easy to do. I've done it with a bunch of different colors and a bunch of different styles of yarn, and they always come out really, really cute. This is also something kids can do. Just going to throw that out there. So I only made 1 butterfly for this particular wreath, but I do have other ones in different colors for other projects. Now for the house in the middle, you guys, I had so many choices to go off of for this, and ultimately I decided to use this one. It came in a 3-pack a while ago from the Target dollar spot, but most of the other houses that you saw are from Dollar Tree. And then I also wanted to show you guys these gold butterflies. These are like wall decor, and you just stick them on your wall. They look absolutely stunning. I didn't end up using them on this project, but I still wanted to show them to you guys in case you really liked them. Because I'm going to be painting this house to look like Casita, I thought that it would be easier if I turned it over and had just a totally blank look. Also, I thought that this direction made it look more like the silhouette of Casita than the other way around. So I'll be starting with a base of yellow, and I am using an outdoor acrylic paint that I just picked up at Walmart. It's just a golden yellow color, and then I'm going to end up doing 2 coats of this because you can see the brown poking through with just a singular coat. Because my wreath is going to be hanging on a door, I'm only going to paint the sides of the house and not the back because nobody's going to see it anyway, but obviously if that's something that bothers you, then go ahead and paint the back as well. I left it to dry for about 20 minutes and then I came back and did a second coat. Acrylic paint does dry pretty quickly, so you don't have to wait very long between coats. Just make sure that it's not sticky or tacky when you start the second coat. After letting the yellow totally dry, I'm going to go ahead and paint Bruno's tower, which is a green color, but the green that I had was a little bit too neon green, so I am going to mix just a teeny bit of this aqua blue in it as well. I just thought that that gave it more of the color that I was wanting, and again, this is kind of a custom mix, so I can't really tell you the exact shade that you're wanting, but just I used reference photos of Casita to try to get my colors as close as possible. And then in order to not make a big mess, I am using masking tape to tape off the rest of the house so that I get a nice crisp clean line on the paint, because the house is like a bunch of different colors in different sections. After I pulled the tape off, I didn't like how the yellow still had some of that brown poking through underneath, so I went ahead and did a 3rd coat, but I only did it on the bottom half of the house because the green provided the right amount of coverage on the top. After that layer of paint dried, I went ahead and taped off the next room, which is Isabella's room, and I'm first taping it vertical, and then I did decide to tape it horizontally all the way across and just leave it even, because there's kind of like a little balcony roof area, and it all goes straight across the middle of the house. So starting with the purpley pink color of Isabella's walls, I am mixing a very light pink color and a darker purple to make more of like a pinky lilac type of color. And after I did the first brush stroke, it was way too purple, so I did end up adding even more pink and white to lighten it up to more of a lavender color. I did end up putting masking tape at the edge of the Bruno portion because I didn't want to paint over the green and make a mess, so tape is helpful. And then I personally like to pull the tape off while the paint is still wet. I don't know if that's the way they say you're supposed to do it, but I find this to be the less messy way. It doesn't bleed as much when I pull it off that way, as opposed to leaving it on and the paint seems to seep underneath it. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I forgot about this. I still didn't like the color of Isabella's room because when I looked at the reference photo, it really was more on the pink side. So I created a super, super light, mostly pinkish purple color and did another coat. Then I filled in that connecting square with an orange color, and next I am going to go in and paint the door. I am using a metallic teal color that I picked up from Walmart just in their acrylic paint section, but before painting the door I am going to sketch it in pencil just to make sure that I have it the right size and shape. Now this metallic paint is really, really sheer, so honestly it would probably be a good idea to go in with kind of like an aqua blue color and then fill in the metallic paint as a top coat as opposed to using it as a base. After allowing the door to dry, I wanted to go in and distress the entire house, and how I did that was just by taking brown paint and burning the edges of it, which is where you just kind of scrape the edge of the brush on the edge of whatever you're painting. And then I did decide to go ahead and paint the roof at the same time just by doing swiping motions, so vertical motions the same direction that the actual shingles of the roof would be facing. And then I dry brushed the entire house all the way across, which is why it looks so dirty now. If you've never dry brushed, it is very simple. You just barely dip your paintbrush in the paint and then have your brush almost dry, hence the name, and just gently scrape it across whatever you're painting. This is where I got a little bit more bold and I pulled out the puffy paint because I thought it would give it a cool 3D texture. So using some brown puffy paint, I am just doing singular lines across the roof line to make the roof look like it is 3D and popped up. And then any portion that is still a little messy, I just cleaned up with my paintbrush. And then this is the roof after one layer of puffy paint, but I will go in and do another one once it's dry. Then I will continue with the puffy paint along the other roof line, which is above the orange portion of the house. And I also decided to do the balcony railing in puffy paint. The thing I liked about doing it this way is that it did give me more control. It made it a lot easier to make straight lines that weren't kind of wonky with the paintbrush. I don't have the best paintbrushes, so I wasn't going to be able to make really finite lines with them. Continuing with the puffy paint, I did a crisscross balcony railing on Isabella's bedroom, but I did get a little bit out of frame, so I'm going to cut to where I'm back in frame. While I'm letting the puffy paint dry, I went ahead and did another layer of the metallic paint on the doorway. Again, I really do wish I had base coated this because I probably wouldn't have had to do so many coats of just the metallic. Going back in with more puffy paint, this time I'm going to be using pink and purple to do the flowers all over Isabella's room, and I'm just doing little dots of puffy paint. And this is what it looks like so far. Puffy paint does take at least 24 hours to dry, so you have to be very careful if you're working with it and still trying to work on other portions of the house. Going in with the silver puffy paint, I'm putting the little grate that's over the window in Bruno's tower. And then going back to the brown puffy paint, I'm going to continue the roof line over the yellow portion of the house, doing those vertical thin lines. Using an orange puffy paint, I started to try to do a rock kind of stone design, but I really didn't like how it looked. So instead I just made a rectangular shape, and then I went in with a paintbrush and smoothed out the puffy paint to give it a tinge of orange, but not try to redesign the bottom of the house. With that same orange puffy paint, I'm going to do a surrounding above and around the door. I did want this to actually feel a little bit more 3D, so I am leaving the puffy paint puffy. And then going back in with the brown, we're going to add a couple windows to this first level. I wasn't super happy with how the windows look, so I did take a paintbrush and I just kind of scooped out the paint, leaving the outline but taking out the part that filled it in. Again, trying something new, not really sure how effective it was. I had this makeup sponge from Dollar Tree and I tore it up and was going to try a different way of distressing. So I dipped it in the brown paint and then I tried to kind of smush off most of the excess paint, and then I dabbed it onto the orange section of the house, trying to, again, give it kind of a stone effect. I was not super happy with this. It was okay. I didn't feel the need to clean it all off and start over, but I don't think you really need to do this step. And then just using my paintbrush, I painted in a window for this area as well. And I framed it using pink puffy paint, and I did do bars going across the window. Using that same pink puffy paint, I am going to add a few more flowers just because I wanted them to be a little bit more puffed up and 3D looking. And then this is what the house looks like. Now, because the puffy paint didn't puff up as much as I wanted it to, I did decide to go in and do more layers on the roof shingles as well. But you really should allow for the paint to dry and then add another layer the following day so that the paint doesn't just smush together and flatten out. So we're going to set Casita off to the side and allow it to fully dry, and I decided to use these other two items in my craft crap box. This is the actual wreath that I'll be using, and then I had this wood piece from Dollar Tree. I did stain it using Old American Stain, and then using this metal poking tool. These came in a pack at Walmart and I've had them for years. I just forcefully pushed it into the piece of wood and created a hole. It was surprisingly easy. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of the wood because we're going to need those holes in order to attach this to the wreath using a piece of wire. Now this is just silver floral wire that I had on hand, and I just shoved it down into the hole and then used some hot glue in the hole to reinforce it. And that seemed to create a pretty good hold. I repeated these same steps on the other side, cutting a piece of wire, adding some hot glue, and then shoving the wire down into that hole that we created and allowing the hot glue to dry. After the hot glue has dried, then you're going to put your wood piece in between the wreath
and I used that wire to wrap around the wreath itself to secure this piece of wood. Again, that piece of wood is from Dollar Tree. The wreath itself, I believe, is from Hobby Lobby. Pretty sure it's from Hobby Lobby. And then the wire is also from Dollar Tree. But I am just wrapping that wire all the way around, and then once I feel like I have it really secured, I am using wire cutters just to cut off the excess and hot gluing it in place just to add a little bit of extra security. We are going to cover up the hot glue, so don't worry about if you can see it. After that, I measure out this piece of wood because I did use my silhouette machine to cut out the phrase "The miracle is you" in a teal vinyl, and then I'm going to get some transfer tape and put this onto that block of wood. Obviously, if you guys don't have a Cricut or a Silhouette or any kind of die cut machine, Dollar Tree actually has a really great amount of very beautiful stickers in all different fonts and colors, and you could spell out this exact same phrase, or you could hand paint it, or you could use paint markers. There's really a lot of options of different things that you can do, and you don't need one of these machines to create this exact same craft. Just using transfer tape, I'm going to tape down the phrase onto that block of wood. I am going to center it for the most part, but before totally transferring it down, I wanted to make sure I have it spaced out nicely because I knew that I had these really big, luscious purple flowers that I wanted to include, so I did need to shift the phrase over just a little bit so that you could still read it. And then I just squeegee down the words. By the way, Dollar Tree has a ton of Cricut materials. If you guys haven't checked them out, they have like a pick tool, a spatula tool, and they have a little squeegee that works pretty good. After pulling up the transfer tape and getting these letters totally down, I did decide to go over it with a layer of Mod Podge. I am using the glossy Mod Podge, and this is from Dollar Tree. And then just using a flat brush, I'm just going to paint that all over. It creates a nice layer over the top of your letters so that they're far less likely to peel off over time. And then that'll take about 30 minutes to fully dry. And next we will go in and start attaching our little decorations. So I'm going to hot glue down the little butterfly that we made at the beginning, as well as these really beautiful purple flowers. I honestly don't remember where I got these purple flowers. I'm so sorry, you guys. I usually get my flowers from Walmart or Hobby Lobby or Dollar Tree. But I always suggest going to Dollar Tree because they have so many different options and they're very affordable. But if you're looking for something maybe a little bit more expensive looking, I would try Hobby Lobby. So I'm just trimming these down to fit how I like them to fit, and then I'm going to hot glue them in place. I also pulled off a few individual flowers so that I could cover up all of the stem. I liked it looking like it was growing out of the wreath itself, not that I had just glued it onto the wreath. And then the final step is attaching Casita. Now I played around with where I was going to place her on the wreath, but I did ultimately decide just to glue her down onto the top of the wood plank, and I just used hot glue. This is what the wreath looked like all finished. And obviously you could add more things to this, but I did like the simplicity of it and kind of the more natural colors, so that Casita really popped.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it when you guys come over here and watch and like and comment. Let me know what you guys thought of this. Would you have done anything differently with it? How did you feel about the puffy paint? Because I felt a little bit like, did I make the right choice by the end of it? So would you have done that, or would you have done something different? I am very curious. Be sure to check out the video where I show you guys everything I have inside this craft box that I'm talking about, because I will take future suggestions as well for some future video content so that I can get through these craft supplies. And hopefully I'm really hoping to finish this summer, because I already have fall stuff planned, and I have a lot of fall crafts coming out from last year that I wasn't unfortunately able to edit and get posted before the season was over. So stay tuned for tons and tons of Halloween and fall inspired crafts, obviously Disney themed. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so that you don't miss out on future content, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. I am doing this too much.